Year 5 and 6, Miss Stewart here. I just wanted to go through with you the checklist for today on Tuesday. Today you're going to be writing from the stepmother's point of view. So first of all, I've included different things you could write about. If you look at the column on the left, don't worry if you can't see this very clearly on the tutorial. I've also got a hard copy of this on the website as well. The first thing you could include is the stepmother's hatred and anger towards her stepson. Then you could talk about throwing the apple into the chest and slamming the lid down on the boy's head falling off, wrapping the silk scarf around his neck and reattaching the head to make it look like his head's still attached, giving Marlene, your daughter, the instruction to box him on the ear if he doesn't respond, Marlene thinking she has killed her stepbrother and the daughter's grief, and cooking the boy in a stew and your daughter's sadness. So here is an example of what I've put for the beginning of those points. Dark, heavy clouds form in my heart whenever I see that wretched stepson of mine. Why can't he be more like my beloved daughter Marlene? He stands in our way of inheriting a vast fortune. I cannot let that happen. By making his life a misery, pushing him, hitting him and calling him names, I'm hoping he will run away. Then our problem will be gone. Then my next paragraph is, unable to control my actions when he reached into the chest to fetch an apple, I violently slammed the lid down on his neck. To my horror, his head came clean off his shoulders and rolled across the floor. Freezing like a statue, I stood there aghast. After a brief spell, I came to my senses and raced to get a scarf reattaching his head. Just like you've done previously, Year 5 and 6, when you're writing from the first person perspective, you need to use the first person. So my example is, racing upstairs like a bullet released from a gun, I found what I was looking for. Make sure you're varying sentence openers as well. Try not to keep starting each one with I. So some of my examples here include, at that precise moment, taking a deep breath, I saw his head had been dispatched from his body. Despair filled Marlene's bones when his head fell to the floor with a thud. Loud, sorrowful tears fell. She despaired at the fact she had killed her stepbrother. So as you can see in all those examples, each one of my sentence openers starts in a different way, and it doesn't start with using I. Also, it's really important when adding interest to a piece of writing to use deliberate vocabulary choices that match the piece of writing you're wanting to do. So I've got staring in stupefied astonishment. That could either be said about the stepmother, the wicked stepmother, or Marlene, because they were both stupefied when they realised the boy was dead and his head had fallen off, or incredulously I stared at, or with a cackle that sounded like a witch's, is another example of using deliberate vocabulary choices. Something that we need to do some more work on, especially Year 5, is using reported speech. So you're not using speech marks or inverted commas today. Instead, you're using reported speech. You're retelling the events that have happened. So an example here I've put of reported speech, I told my daughter to box his ears if he didn't reply, whereas direct speech would be, Marlene boxes ears if he doesn't reply. Again, try and use imagery. So my examples that I'm going to use in my writing today include, as white as snow, she stood deadly still, staring at me. It felt like a lightning bolt had struck the very heart of me when I saw his head on the floor. She crumpled like a piece of paper. There I'm talking about Marlene, my daughter. Or my heart was on fire. Again, try and use inference today. So you're trying to show, not tell, your thoughts and feelings. So turning puce, her sadness could not be concealed. My cheeks flushed scarlet, and with sweaty palms I. So the last example shows that I'm feeling nervous because I've realised what I've done and the consequences of my actions. And the last thing to make sure, Year 5 and 6, is making sure you're writing in paragraphs and putting in all your punctuation. So remember, when you're using paragraphs, use it for a new time in your story, a new place in your story, or a new event in your story. Make sure you've got all your capital letters and full stops. Try and use things like exclamation marks to show shock, anger or surprise. Remember to only use one at a time. Using things like colons to separate two independent clauses, or semicolon to join dependent clauses. Have a go, see how you get on. Good luck, looking forward to seeing you writing. Take care, Year 5 and 6. Speak to you soon. Bye.